Here's Johnny. No intro. We're going straight to Johnny because I'm gonna just spill the beans. John, the reason we late, y'all. Don't look at me. Don't say I was asleep. I'm going hard. John Machota, go at him. I'm being messy today, Sky. I'm popping it off.
Cool. Hey, look, man. This thing got pushed back further than Stephen A's hairline, but we here.
No, he didn't. He just did that.
Yeah.
He just did
pushed it all the way back, man. We singing free at last. Come on.
Thank God Almighty. Hey, episode 35, Law.
35. KaVontae Frazier, man. And who else with 35? Is Mears Live Foul? Somebody.
Hill. Come on, man.
Calvin Hill.
Dang. Let's go. Still off the top rope.
No, I ain't no Calvin Hill, bro. I cheated. I wasn't looked.
My man, be ready. Hey guys, Cowboys Collective is back, and I can honestly say this one is gonna be one of them ones. First day of OTAs, and I'm gonna just set the table. There was 3 things that happened at OTAs. Brian Schottenheimer talked. John Machota actually saw football things happening, and he got to talk to the players. So John's gonna dominate the first half of the show, and what I want us to do, Sky, Law, and myself, just kind of jump in with questions for each, because I'll be honest with you, Sky, you tweeted it. The presser was amazing. I've listened to that 3 times. He's amazing on that mic. Then everything we saw out there today, John, and then obviously the players. So let's start with John, the presser. Talk to me.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, Schottenheimer's been good with all that stuff since he's been head coach. I mean, he's been that way even when
as OC. Yeah,
when he was OC, and when anytime we got to talk to him, he's always been like that. So that didn't surprise me. That none of this stuff right now surprised me. So he's checking off all those boxes, no question. But obviously, he'll be judged on Sundays, and so. Will all this culture stuff that he's talking about come through during the season? We'll see. Maybe it does. Maybe that's the difference, but we just won't know until once the season starts. And there's obviously been things in the past, Jason Garrett was big on building culture and things like that. And so, so, I mean, we've heard some of this stuff before. I would say the toughest thing that he'll have to deal with right now is probably just questions about Micah Parsons until that deal is finally done. Micah wasn't there today, and I thought he handled the questions pretty well. I mean, he said that Micah was in the building yesterday. They had lunch. So, they've spent some time together and things like that. And so I think that was probably, from afar, that's probably the biggest thing to come out of it, that Micah Parsons wasn't there. But I looked at it as, hey, this is our first chance to get to see how much is Dak going to do, which he did way more than I thought he would do. And then this is your first chance to see George Pickens. And then that obviously – he's every bit of the 6'3", 200, whatever he's listed on this roster as. So, that was good to see. A lot of energy at practice today. Not a ton of team drills, but there were team drills, so that was good to see. A little bit more evaluation than just doing stretching and individuals and stuff like that. So, yeah, I can kind of take it in a bunch of different directions wherever you guys want to go. I got a lot I can talk about. So, whatever you're looking for.
I'm not letting you get off the hook. No, you didn't. No, let me. You know what? I see what's going on.
Wait a minute.
Put it on. I need to go ahead and put my Pickens on.
He got
and I got the one with the Nike. Now let me. I'm gonna do this right.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Now.
Oh shit! Oh, wait a minute.
Hey, if we could get Shiesty,
wait a minute. I don't have one over here.
One time.
If it don't got the Nike check on it, it ain't real. Now let me say this. Machota.
Get your back.
This man, we not gonna skip over this interview now. He said something real that I loved about Pickens. He said it's not Dak's job to set the culture. What did you think about that? Did you think anything of that, Scott? Like, that was so dope to me that he said it's the coach's job to make sure that Pickens is like locked in. I thought that was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I mean, he says all the right stuff, but I kind of expect that from him. Like, he's been preparing for this job for a long time. And so he's very media savvy. He's very like who you see. It's not really, there's no phoniness to him. That's who he is, whether you're, walking by him in the hallway or, I run into him at the hotel or something like that, on the road. Like, this is who he's always been. So that didn't surprise me, and it shouldn't be all on Dak. But I also will say that, that's part of the reason that Dak gets the big money, is that there is some stuff that he probably will have to deal with. He's the face of the team. He's a longtime veteran quarterback, and it's not just Dak. That's just what the franchise quarterback is. That's why they get all the money. That's why it's more than just to play on the field. Like, they have to be the face of it, and they have to be the leaders. And then it directly affects Dak because he's going to be the one throwing the passes to these guys. It's different if they made a trade for Jalen Ramsey, and you're just kind of like, well, how much is Dak going to really be impacting that? But with George Pickens, I mean, he's got to get the ball to George Pickens. He's got to get the ball to CeeDee Lamb, So that's why I don't see a world where Dak isn't involved. Like, I don't see a world where if George Pickens is grabbing Jordan Lewis by the face mask, getting a 15-yard penalty, that Dak isn't saying something to him. Maybe it won't be on camera, but, like, Dak will be a big part of it. Now, he shouldn't be the only one. The coach absolutely should be involved. And I do think Schottenheimer will be involved. So that's what they're doing right now. A lot of this stuff right now is they're setting the groundwork right now so that when stuff potentially goes wrong, because that's how seasons go, it's never smooth, that they already have the foundation built to, hey, we can handle this because, we're not phony right now. We're going to be real with each other. We'll have the hard conversations. And then so when the S hits the fan, we'll be able to handle this a lot better because we're setting up the parameters of, hey, this is the way that this thing's going to go. And so we shall see. I have no concerns if Schottenheimer was in the walk around head coach role. The thing for me with Schottenheimer is that there's going to be a lot on his plate being also the play caller too. So that's kind of where I'm at, where I won't be able to judge that until Sundays.
I think that one of the things with Dak Prescott being an Achilles heel to, like, the perception is that he's not assertive. I've seen in 2023, I believe, whereas he's a little bit more assertive in his approach as it relates to when players run the wrong route or drop the ball. So I think that going into this year, I've heard the new nickname for him is Unk. He's the real young Unk. And you guys asked some great questions about Dak Prescott. And I think that now this is the team, whereas he's the Unk. And now crazy that it is that CeeDee Lamb is the OG. That's crazy.
Yeah. You got some, Scott?
I mean, just we'll go back to the culture thing, because I was just thinking about this for a second, because we have heard something similar. We've heard the buzzword culture come up, but something's different. I'm not saying this is a different team or anything, but it's said a lot more. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because Schotty's been here for a number of years and he's seen, McCarthy's type of culture. He's seen the Cowboys country club culture, and he's not from that, right? Like Schotty's been around the league. He's been in college. Right. He's been in many different teams. I wonder if it's him that went to the Joneses and emphasize this, or maybe the Joneses came to him and said, hey, we got to change this up. My opinion, it starts with the Joneses, but that's never changing. So I wonder if Schotty is like, all right, look, man, I know we've had this right kind of guy thing, or at least that's what the fans are saying. I know McCarthy has talked about this going to be football, tough, but I've seen this for 3 years and something does stink. There's something wrong. And I got to hammer this home because he constantly brings it up. And again, we've heard it, but I don't know that I've heard it to this extent. And I don't know if it's something you can see as a reporter, John, day in, day out, but maybe more when training camp gets here. But is that something y'all noticing? This is a lot more hardcore culture talk than it's been in years.
Yeah, I think it's because I think that there was some probably disconnect on defense. You saw that boil over with the back and forth with DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons on X. And I think there's some stuff over on that side of the ball where they really didn't have the answers there. Obviously they had Dan Quinn as the DC. It seemed like that he was a player's coach and that guys were buying in and all that, but maybe teammate to teammate, it wasn't where it was at. I can't really say I felt that way ever about the offense, but maybe on the defensive side of it, that's probably what maybe there's a little bit more there. And obviously Schottenheimer's been in the building the last 3 years, so he would know about it as well as anybody. And so I think that could be maybe what he's pointing to, but I don't know. I didn't think that there was really, I have never thought that the culture was the reason for what I think are their 3 biggest playoff losses in the last 15 years. So maybe this helps out, maybe it doesn't. But when they've come up short and all 3 games have been against Green Bay, I've never once been like, man, the culture just wasn't there. It's like they just didn't make the plays when you need to make the plays in the big moments. And so that's why I never buy too much into this time of year. Show me what you're doing on Sundays when the S is hitting the fan, and then you'll know. That's when the teams are made, because Schottenheimer knows it too. That he could have the best culture where everybody on the team loves each other and they build this great bond where they are friends forever, and it's great. But if they don't win on Sundays, none of it will it won't keep him his job. Let's put it that way.
John, let me ask you this. When you was in college or what have you, when did you write your thesis? When you wrote your paper and everything? Did you wait till the day of, or did it already prepare up for that week?
Oh yeah, I'm a bad example on this. I'm a big time
procrastinator. I can't use that analogy.
No, I very rarely ever prepare. And I'll be honest with you, it fits me perfect for the job I have. Yeah. Because there are so few times when I've worked ahead and then that thing is there and it's done, and then you can just change a couple things around, and then you can, like right now, I can tell you I have a story already written for whenever Micah signs his contract. So I just have to change around a couple things. I got the quotes I need, everything like that. But most of the time when you cover the Dallas Cowboys, there's so much randomness to it that this is what I've run into. And anybody listening to this, hey, you got your own experiences in life. I only speak on my own.
Okay.
A lot of the people that really do the planning early and got everything all mapped out, when the curveball is thrown, they shit themselves.
Oh, okay.
They're not in the moment like, oh my God, okay, wait, so we have to change this? This is a different plan now? We can't go with this? Those are the people you generally don't want in the foxhole. It's my life experiences. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, there are some people that work ahead and it's great, and you need those people on your team, but I don't necessarily think, and then especially for my job, a lot of it is the people that work so far ahead and they might have 4 stories done in advance. When you need them to change it up and then do something different for next week, it's just like, it's the biggest deal to them. We're just like, we got to do what? And just like, where I'm just conditioned, where I'm like, I cover the Cowboys. I'm always expecting something crazy to happen, something to get screw up, whatever we are working on and planning out, So that's why it's fit me well. But obviously, if I had kids, I would tell them, you should work in advance and get this stuff done.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Manage your time better. But me personally, I'm not really looking at my rear view and saying that I need to be changing things that I did in the past. I'm pretty content with how I got on the path I got on.
But John, he took the bullet out of the gun foots in Sky.
Yeah, I did, because I think you was gonna set up. Yeah, I was
gonna try to set it up, but then he took the bullets out. So confidence and preparation. I just hope that this particular coaching staff can establish that, and I think that by these guys working together, that they will have confidence in each other. So that's the only takeaway that I took from Shotty on that part of it, of being different, of making sure that they are talking to other people that they normally don't talk to as far as the players on this team.
I think, I want to put the bullet back in the gun because, hey, John, so I think for me, right, I know what you're saying about Shotty. Definitely, I mean, listen, that's any coach in the NFL. If it doesn't hit on Sundays, it doesn't hit on Sundays. Right. And this is definitely coach say the right thing time of the year. This is definitely everybody's in the best shape of their lifetime of the year. But to me, what is Shotty saying, John? He's saying things like, we got to know these guys. We have to know. I think that's when, if you're able to know who they are, really, when you get in these foxholes, it's easier to say, hey, man, you got to put your body on the line here. Hey, man, you got to be tougher. I think Mike McCarthy was such a vanilla, by the book, Pittsburgh, do it, that I think some of that may be why. I'm not gonna say, I can't directly make the correlation as to why they were flat in playoff games or why they may have gotten out coached in playoff games. But I do believe there is something to, like, man, some of these guys need to be a little inspired. Some of these guys need to be a little, like, they need some juice. And I think that I'll be real with you. Like, when Micah tweeted, and Micah retweets everybody, but like, I think that he does feel like, I kind of do want to play for Shotty. Now, again, all this goes out the window if they start off 0-6. Right. And it's like, I'll be the first to say, hey, Shotty, this ain't looking right. But I think, like, to me, him saying things, because everybody in the league knows scheme. Like, if you sit down and listen to Mike McCarthy, he could come and talk to me, Sky, Law, and John about scheme and why this didn't work, why that didn't work. Like, you're not in the NFL if you can't coach. But I think learning the players, learning what makes them tick, And the thing that he keeps saying, John, that we keep glancing over is he's making the coaches learn the players and learn what makes these guys tick and learn like the why. I do think that's something substantial. Could just be me, but I do think that's substantial.
I don't remember real quick. I don't remember anything of like Bill Callahan being like that, you know. But if I'm going to tell you right now, if you tell me I can get Bill Callahan to coach my
one of the best coaches,
Callahan to coach my offensive line, like I don't know if he's close with him or not. You know, that was like in my first few years on the beat, and so that really wasn't. I mean, we talked to him once a week, like when he got moved over to be an OC too, but like he can fix a run game. And I'm going to tell you this right now, if you give me that guy and the same thing on this team, if you tell me the offensive line coach can fix the run game for Sundays, then if he goes out to dinner with the guy, is great. And if he doesn't, cool too.
I can't crack John. What you guys do this guy?
I just think he's trying to build something to where once the season starts, he's not just a coach they run to the wall for, but they run through it for. You know, I think that's a real thing. I think there's certain guys like Dan Quinn was a guy like that, right? And it fizzled out here for one way or the other. But what happens when he goes to Washington? He's got, you know, average guys, Jags that are ready to run through the wall for the guy, and a coaching staff that's ready to run through the wall for the guy. And they ended up going to the NFC Championship game. Now, you still need good players, right? But you talked about some guys need motivation, so you know, the preparation and things like that. I do, and you said Micah Parsons brought up, hey man, I want to play for Schotty. I'm not saying he didn't say that about Mike. I don't recall him saying it in that nature, right? So I just think he's one of those coaches you will want to run through the wall for, but it has to translate on Sundays. But we're not there yet, right? We got 6 months or whatever it is, and I think these guys are going to be very fired up and show a lot of energy, and we'll see where that translates to. But I think a lot of people are going to like this coach and like his preparation and his process till September gets here.
Okay.
I do. Sorry if we're having some technical difficulties, guys. You guys can hear us. And then also, guys, this will be a good point to now say, make sure that you guys catch this back on the replay wherever you guys listen to podcasts. So if the visuals freezing up, I go back and listen to these and we talk about what we could do better. And so at the end of the day, if you guys can hear this, that's really what matters. And John Machota was out there on the beat today. One more point that Sky said about Micah, because that's obviously, like John said, that's going to be the biggest story. But he said something in that presser, John, that I like. He said it's important. He said that it was important that it was something along the lines like it's important for Micah to either be here or that what was this guy that we know that we're all on the same page. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
What are you getting from that vibe, John?
I like the way he handled the Micah situation because he mentioned how he has an agent as a coach and how that's the business side of it. But I will say Mike McCarthy always handled that really well too, in terms of, you know, whether it was Dak's contract or CeeDee's, like just being like, hey, that's the business side. That's not really my job. And I'm not going to sit there and get involved with the guy's pockets. And I think that's 100% how you have to play that as a head coach. You know, the days are gone of being some head coach that stands up there as a hard ass on the mic talking about how like these players need to get here. I don't care about their contract and stuff, like, you know, like a Bob Knight type world. That day is gone. You're not getting anything out of guys like that. So I think he handled that really well because it is out of his hands. It's not like Brian Schottenheimer can go and kick down Jerry's door and be like, just get this damn deal done. I mean, what are we waiting for? And start screaming. I'm like, he's not doing that. So in the position he is, he's got to build the best relationship he can with Micah, and that hopefully the contract gets done as soon as possible and he gets him on the field and he's ready to go. But when he's not there, it's not like they can just go, well, Micah's not here, so we're not going to practice today, guys. Like, it's got to be everybody else gets prepared so that when he does get there, everyone hits the ground running together. So I do think it's very important that Micah does get there by training camp. I don't think they need to be starting training camp without him. And I still think that will happen.
Yes, and I hope that it can all happen, because right now the Cowboys are hovering around B+, close to an A during this offseason. Let's not get 1-0 and it can flunk the whole entire offseason. Get Parsons in training camp. I would love for him to be out here in OTA just for the aesthetics of it all, but I get it. Business is business.
If I'm not mistaken, he was there yesterday, correct? This was just the open portion he wasn't here for.
Okay.
Yeah. No, he was there. He was there yesterday. I don't know if he did any on the field work, but he was in the building and had lunch with Schottenheimer. So that's probably when they talked over stuff. But I mean, I think Brian's just happy that Micah's making the communication. He's even around the way he was in there for the involuntary workouts and stuff like that, because he could easily just be training down in Austin, which he's done before. Mm-hmm. So the fact that he's doing this, I think Brian's happy that, hey, he's around, and hopefully that this thing gets done and they can put that part of the offseason behind him and get ready. Because on paper, I mean, if there was no such thing as contracts or injuries, on paper, the Cowboys roster is pretty good. It's the areas that I look at when I look at their roster, I'm like, yeah, there's some concerns here. The biggest ones for me are just because of the injuries, you know? If you told me, I mean, like today, most of those guys are out there. You know, Overshown was on the cords, Sam Williams on the cords, but you're like, man, if these guys are healthy, Savone Ravel was working on the cords. You're like, if all these guys are healthy, this is a pretty nice roster, but they got to be healthy. So,
hey,
yeah,
so
the spots that need upgrade are, I think, easily upgradable. They just have to go out there and do it. So yeah,
that's the thing. Because to me, number one is corner, and I don't think it's in Schottenheimer's best interest to say that today. Let the guys that you have there play it out and see if guys, see if Kyer Elam can step up and Kalen Carson and things like that. But where things sit right now, that's the spot I would say if they make another move, it'll be at corner.
John, what was my bad?
For you good? Take your time.
John, was Donovan Wilson working the cords today?
He was doing a little bit of things like that, but I don't think it's like anything serious, major. But I'll be honest with you, man, there's like a ton of stuff. Like on a day like today, like I was telling Todd Archer this after we left, I go, this is one of those top 20 days in the entire year to be at the facility, because even during the season, there's some stuff like during the season where it's kind of like, okay, what's Dak really going to say today? Like when you're in middle of the season and stuff like that. But like today is one of those days where it's like, you're there because you want to see, it's the first time seeing George Pickens. You want to see if Booker's working with the ones. You want to, and then so there's so many like little things going on that, like, I mean, I'll just be honest. I mean, I feel like I'm back in the Des Bryant days where, I'm telling you that Cowboys made it so easy on me back then because there wasn't a lot of people on defense that I really had to worry about. And I was following Dez nonstop. Like even during games, it was like, oh, not playing well on offense, binoculars up. What's Dez doing on the sidelines? More than it was, let's see what kind of rush move Jeremy Mincy's coming with on this play. So because of that, like I was dialed in on watching Pickens as much as possible. So yeah, I did see Donovan over there for a little bit. I will say Israel Mukwama was playing a little bit in the slot. Obviously, Deron Bland was too. So I think Mukwama is an option there. So like I said, you want to see what you have there. You don't want to necessarily say, oh, well, corner's still a major hole here. But that's the one spot where I'm like, when they get to camp, like what's Revel going to look like? And then, where's Trayvon Diggs, and how far out is he to coming back? Yeah. If he comes back, what kind of level is he going to be at? I mean, I think you need 4 good corners going into the season. And will they have that? If they don't, they need to make another move for another one.
I only brought him up because of the expendable aspect of it. I heard that Wanye had a good day at practice today as well.
So I don't want to bury the presser lead. Yeah, I know that. I know law trying to hold on. So look, I wanted to, because I do want to talk about, I want to give you the full floor because I actually want to talk about some of these rookies. Right. John, I heard that Booker was lined up. But my last thing was from the presser. I don't want to bury it because he has so many gems in his presser.
Yeah.
What he said about the competition part, John, that was interesting to me about like the Milton stuff. I don't pay no mind. But I did that was like, I was like, okay, stop it. I was like,
good. He looked good now.
Yeah, but just him saying that, it was that was hilarious. But I did like what he said about Pickens pushing CeeDee and about the running back pushing Blue and all that. Like I thought that was good because I think, and he said the theme of their offseason is competition. I like that because it lets me know outside of Dak, nobody's position is safe, and who the best players will play. And so I thought that was interesting from just the aspect. Like I said, I mean, that presser alone is a whole show, and I feel like if they're gonna play it like that, Dallas will field the best team, because when you couple that with what Will McClay said yesterday, because I'm gonna be honest, that hasn't been talked about enough. Will basically talking like, yo, I'm trying to replace these receivers. Like, that's what I took from it. Like,
Love it.
I mean, Will came back with his, listen, at the end of the day, my job is to replace you. And we need to get whoever you get what I'm saying. So that was, I really thought that was cool, John.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I just think of when I'm thinking the roster through my head, like I feel pretty confident on who will be the week 1 starters if you tell me everybody's healthy. You know, there's a couple spots here or there that like might.
I can't say that. I can't say that, John. I disagree. I'm gonna honestly now. I'm starting to feel like I'm flip flopping, and that's okay. But I think that receiver 3 position is up for grabs.
You would not have felt that if you were there today.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog.
You would not.
But John, but that's day one. That's day one.
That's fine. No, I know, but
that's day one. Okay, now let's talk about what you actually saw on the field. We can put the pressure behind us. What did you see on the field? Booker receive. Now you're telling me that Jalen Tolbert is gonna be Randy Moss. That's what you just told me, basically. So what do you see?
No, did I say anything about the plays? I watch position groups. I talk to players.
Come on.
I'll give you a little reporter.
Hey, bro, come on now.
I'll give you a little reporter trick right here.
Yeah.
You just ask the players, and they'll reveal it for you.
You
just let them say the names of who they think, and when there's certain names that aren't mentioned, it's not that hard to figure out. I get what's I assume with George Pickens. I got some friends that cover the Steelers. They get to watch all of practice even during the season, but can't report on it. But how you report on it is then when you see something, then you go talk to the players and they'll reveal it for you. You just have to ask the right questions. So
yeah.
No, I'm not. I don't think I said anything about one play that Jalen Tolbert made that I thought, oh yeah, this locks him in. I'm just going off of the position groups I saw being wheeled out there. It didn't look like much of a competition, to be honest with you. It's
Tolbert and 5.
CeeDee,
Sky, you mother ever Sky.
Tolbert, KaVontae Turpin is 4.
Interesting.
What they are talking about?
John Bomb, Rose Bomb, John Bomb.
No, but
I thought they were talking about Jalen Cropper today, man.
Nah, I didn't see much of that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Can we have we learned our lessons over the years? Like, because shouts out to my guy Nick, right? He dropped some of those nuggets. Like he'll drop a, Dak did this, and maybe Pickens, and then he'll drop in a Jalen Moreno Cropper thing, and the whole world starts Jalen Moreno Croppering, right? And and it's just like, guys, how we've been here before, okay? We did it in this Houston. We did the Jalen Moreno Croppers. We've done the fifth string Malik Davises at running back. We've been here before, right? So let's kind of get a little bit deeper than the grass is greener. Vasher, Rico Gathers. Let's learn our lesson. Is all I'm saying. Let's
With a lot of people you're talking about too, this is the other thing you got to factor in. They're doing it against the 2s and 3s. That's the thing that always gets it for me. I'm just like, well, who did they do that against? Where when you're doing it with the 1s, you have the 1 quarterback throwing to, you're going against the 1 DBs. There's just a little bit more value to take from there. But yeah, don't get me wrong. Believe me, I'd love a good Rico Gathers, one-handed grab.
Facts.
Now you might do it over, a player that's no longer on the squad and didn't even make that 53 that year. But yeah, no, that stuff does catch on. But I mean, injury could get one of these other guys into the mix. But right. I'm talking in a world that we can talk in right now where we're just like, okay, if there isn't a major injury, like I don't see one of these other guys.
Right, use context. Like if they're balling out, cool. Like okay, they're balling out for the 6th spot or for practice squad or depth or what have you, but they're not going to move the needle for your season. You really want to hear about, hey man, is Tyler Booker picking up his playbook? Is he getting the reps at 1? Hey man, is it Jalen Tolbert that got the wide receiver 3? All right, let's make sure that he's ready for week 1. Hey, what's going on with Savon Ravel? Is he going to be our cornerback? What are the top and middle of our are they ready to go? Right. I can give a damn about wide receiver 8. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And John, even though you bust the bubble a little bit on that, and I really appreciate the objective analysis, especially to not even think about Brevin Span 4 today, then, because I saw the news of Brevin Span.
John can burst the bubble, but he ain't bursting my bubble. When Nick Wright wrote down Brevin, Foots almost did a backflip.
See what I'm saying?
How about that, John?
Oh my God, Brevin tight end 3 though, so that's
that's realistic. We just having fun, guys. Listen, it's the first day of OTAs. We got 500 people on the collective. John, how did the rookies look? The rookies on this Bet US graphic, like, did you notice Tyler Booker's size? Did he look the part? Sky, it's interesting because it feels like Savone is doing more than I think we even expected, even if it's core work, like he's bouncing around out there. And obviously Dono. So, like, what did you see from the rookies, John?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. I mean, Booker was going with the ones, and that offensive line is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, if you tell me they're all healthy, like the 5 to me is like cut and dry. Like, I just don't see a big surprise there. And so I wouldn't say I noticed very much about Donovan Ezaraku, but these really aren't the type of drills where, Micah Parsons might stand out in that type of situation. But there was, there were a couple plays that broke down where Dak had to get outside the pocket. There probably would have been sacks in a regular season. But nothing that really jumped out about him. But yeah, Ravel, I feel the same way that I did last week when I saw him, or was it 2 weeks ago at rookie minicamp, that, the stuff he's doing on the cords. But I felt that way about.
You said that, earlier.
Yeah, and I felt that way, though, today, too, just seeing a little bit of, not just on the chord work, but in between, like dancing to songs and stuff like that Marvian Overshown was doing. Like, I was like, okay, that's kind of surprising that, that he's moving around as well as he is. But the thing is, I wonder if with him if he's kind of almost like Dak, where you also kind of want to protect him from himself because he'll try and come back too soon type thing, because just by looking at him, I would be like, doesn't look like there's anything wrong with him, but I don't get the sense that he's going to be ready for the start of the season with how, that was a pretty serious knee injury he had. So, but yeah, out of the rookies, I would say out of those 3 would be the 3 I'd have my eye on. There was nothing that really super notable. The thing for Booker, it'll be during training camp when the pads come on. That's how you can really judge those type of guys. But I just think that offensive line, like, I'll just be surprised if it isn't that 5 that was out there today, like the Terrence Steele, Tyler Booker, Cooper Beebe, Tyler Smith, Tyler Guyton. Like, I expect that to be their starting offensive line.
You guys got anything to add, fellas?
No, I think from a injury standpoint, from what I was gathering when they drafted Savone, is how you say it?
Yeah.
Savone, yeah.
Savone, Revel. I always get this mixed up. Is it Revel?
That and J2 Scott, they spanked me, bro. It's Revel.
Oh, it's Revel. Okay.
Revel.
So, of the 3 big injuries, Revel, Demo, and Diggs, it always felt like Revel was a guy that would be ready for the season, but the other 2 would not be. And so, I'm not surprised that that's where he's at. I'll be surprised if we get to camp and he's hitting the ground running, ready to go. No holds bar, not holding back, because they didn't even do that with Diggs. They held him back a little bit to start, right, John? I believe maybe first few practices, and then they let off and let him loose. So, that is going to be intriguing to see, because from what I'm hearing, they had Bland working, like you said, in and out, and it was Booth and Elam out there. And I don't know that we want to see. I do know we don't want to see Booth out there, but Elam, I am intrigued, so he better take advantage of these reps.
Yeah,
You're going to need somebody to emerge out of Elam, Caleb Carson, Booth. I don't know, but someone's going to have to emerge.
Me, I'm going to get a guy, but
they're gonna have to get a guy, because I seen Booth get lost in the phone booth. So
put his ass back in the booth.
Put him back in the booth. So, like you said earlier, John, when it's time for training camp, we would definitely see this wide receiver group surpass this defensive back group if they don't go out there and get somebody.
It's going to be a bloodbath. Yeah.
Wow.
It's not going to be good. I was just
time out. No, they said Kyrie's Elam's names today, and that's gonna be our starting corner. I'm speaking life into this thing. Positive Foots is back. Okay, I don't want to hear.
You can be positive all you want. That's lunch meat for CeeDee Lamb and Pickens, man.
Hey, you know what? Hey, listen, I cannot wait for those battles, John.
Oh my
I'm
God,
telling you, I cannot.
That's why I was disappointed today that
battle?
Milton didn't throw any like real deep stuff. I wanted to see.
You wanted that, John?
Yeah, he didn't really do that. He
got you.
Do it come off really good?
Yeah. But he just didn't really show off, the high 90s fastball that I know he has. But I mean, he had a couple bad throws, but I mean the movement and what he does in the pocket and stuff like that. It'll be interesting to watch in training camp. But yeah, I don't get the sense that he's going to be like you said, like you said, Foots. I don't get the Dak feeling that that's like real competition.
I can tell he wasn't throwing deep because he threw 2 interceptions to linebackers. So I guess they weren't practicing deep balls today. Maybe I don't know.
Hey, let's get to these supers, guys. Shout out to my friend Sky Law Nation
Yes, indeed.
Beard.
True friend indeed.
Thank
man.
you,
Shout out to Twan, brother.
Mr.
Appreciate
Twan. We much love to you, and this is a good one too because we love double move.
Shout out to Zach.
This Abby's kind of creepy.
Wow.
Anyway, y'all should definitely bring in double move coming in comment. Zach's ready. Maybe if we get guests on, Zach is definitely ready. He's a GOAT in the space, and shout out to everybody in the space doing amazing work. So, John, that's the portion on the field. Now you interview these players. And like you said, I don't know about y'all, but today was Christmas. I saw Sky tweet out, that emoji, like, bro, this Cowboys football, just them out there running around. And I don't know if everybody really understands what OTAs are. OTAs is 7-on-7. They're installing and they're learning how to practice. Stay up, stay off the ground, don't tackle to the ground, don't step wrong, don't get hurt. I remember, and I'm knocking on wood, guys, I'll never forget this, when Zach crushed Sean Lee, and Sean Lee was out for the season.
Thought the season was over.
And I remember that, Sky, and I remember this. That's when I knew that Zach was a guy. Also,
2014,
and it was like, so teaching them how to practice, teaching them how to bounce around. Let's get to the next drill. Let's not waste time. I know I've been to plenty of coaches' clinics, and you don't want to get long-winded while teaching. We got to teach this stuff on the fly. Shotty needs to be coaching the coaches. So just stuff like that to me that's what they're doing in OTAs. And like John said, let's be real. Like a Joe Milton, he's getting comfortable with these receivers. He probably, hey, how you doing? My name's Joe Milton with some of these guys. So, and then, they'll be in meetings. But John, in the locker room, what was the vibe? Who did you talk to? I saw the ping pong table getting tweeted out. And then obviously everybody wants to know, what is the energy you're getting from George Pickens? Not just what he said, but in the walk-off as he's talking to certain people, what's his vibe, John?
So, I'm originally from Detroit. I've been in Dallas now almost 15 years. Like, I love Detroit. I think a big part of growing up there gave me the work ethic I had. But like, I'm not leaving Dallas. Like, I love it down here. Okay. And so I'm not trying to hate on Pittsburgh, but like to live in Dallas, like obviously he seems to be enjoying that, which I can agree with. I would rather be in Dallas than Pittsburgh too. But with that being said, he comes off to me as just somebody that it's not even about that. It's that he just seems like he genuinely is happy about a fresh start, So
wow.
If it wasn't Pittsburgh, it'd be
positive, Cleveland. John. Yeah.
It could be Detroit. It could be whatever. That I just think that's how he just seems like that and then also knowing CeeDee, I think that helps. I was talking to Jalen Tolbert today, and I didn't know this, but Jalen Tolbert, senior year of high school, his team made it to the state championship game, Alabama in 7A, and they lost to George Pickens's Hoover team, which Hoover is like one of the best high school football programs in Alabama, one of the best in the country. So he knows him from that. So there's some, the guys know who he is and stuff like that. And they all have a lot of respect for him. So from what I've seen so far, it does seem like he's fitting in well. Like even when they weren't in the team, like stuff like that, like when special teams is going on, Pickens and CeeDee were off to the side working on the jugs machine. They were doing stuff together. Like there seems to be a genuine bond there. That's a good thing because there is going to be games where one probably gets 10 targets and one gets 3, and they need these guys to be like, hey, this is for the betterment of the team. And I do get the sense that they feel that way. And that's a good thing because obviously every game they're both not going to go off. They're going to need both those guys to kind of open up the run game too. So no, I would say that was because we got CeeDee, George Pickens, and Dak today all outside the locker room. So yeah, no, they were good. Like I said, Dak, the surprise was that he just did as much stuff as he was able to do. I didn't think that he would be a full go in team drills and stuff like that, and was moving around really well. And he said as much. But Dak always, like, I don't take a ton out of what Dak says because he's like the Brian Schottenheimer of players. Like you take more from Dak if he says something. Like I can remember almost every single time Dak ever said anything where I was like, damn, like, I can't believe Dak said that. I can give you one. I can give you the top 2 off my head are certainly after they lost to the 49ers, people were throwing stuff at the refs and he was like, well, good on them or whatever. I was just like looked up. I was like, I can't believe he just said he's going to regret that one. That was so unlike him. And then last year, right around this time, he was at the one gala and he was talking with it was the thing that him and Troy Aikman was at. And the way he talked about his contract situation, about how like, yeah, maybe I won't be here next year, or whatever. I was like, okay, Dak, all right. Like that's not like him to be like that. But no, today, typical Dak. I mean, he says all the right things. So nothing major there. Same thing with CeeDee. I mean, CeeDee isn't one to like really go super in depth on anything, but I genuinely think him and George have like a good relationship that they can build on there. Who else we talked to? Javonte Williams. He was the first back when the ones went out on the very first team drill. He was the first back. I do think that they'll stick with that for a little bit. I still maintain I think Jaden Blue is their leading rusher by the end of the year, but Javonte Williams talking about how he's 2 years removed from his knee injury is interesting because that's usually the big one that you're. Did you see?
Because I know they probably did speed ladder drills and did some things out there as far as those organized team activities. Did you see any explosiveness from 33, even though it's against wind and what have you?
Yeah, nothing.
I know it's kind of hard to see.
Nothing that really stood out to me like big time, like super noticeable about that, but. The way Schottenheimer was raving about Kaiir Elam's speed, and then just talking to him in the locker room after, like that's a big part of his game that I don't know that I was super familiar with. Like I knew he was a big time player coming out of college, but I didn't see him much
out of Florida. He was a 4-3 guy, 4-4, 4-3
so
guy. He can run.
That could be a potential sleeper. I know a lot of people aren't that big on what he did in Buffalo, but that's a guy that if you told me someone could surprise, maybe it's him being a veteran in the league who I'm sure there's a little bit of George Pickens to him too, where it's like, hey, I didn't like the way stuff went there. Buffalo's got a good thing going, but I needed a fresh start. So, maybe that's Dallas.
So
trying to think who else talked in the locker room. I don't know. Jalen Tolbert just seemed like really on board with the whole George Pickens thing of just how like he thinks it's going to help all of them.
I don't got a choice.
Yeah,
better be.
No, that's true. That's true. He does.
No, not saying like that's you, John. I'm just saying like, brother, you ain't got a choice.
But there could be a part of you. What about this? He didn't say this, but what about the fact of like, okay, so before that happened, what were we talking about? Okay, who would be the number two between Tolbert and Mingo? Like, don't you think Mingo fits more into Pickens taking his time than it would Tolbert? So it doesn't really affect Tolbert the way I see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't you think
you might be right?
Mingo should be the one that's like, hey man, I'll trade the 4th round pick for me, man.
What about me?
Let me get my shot. Jalen Tolbert probably already figuring out, hey, y'all already trying to replace me with Mingo, so I know I ain't the one. So I just got to get in where I can fit in.
The happiest person should be.
It's all right now because guys are healthy. I mean, all it takes is injury one guy, and all of a sudden that guy is the next man up. And I mean, if you're in the top 3 receivers on any team that has a top quarterback, you're getting the football in some games. You're going to be putting up numbers. So any one of them is just one injury away from you're playing a primetime spot, and I mean, the Cowboys would love for their entire season for all the receivers to stay healthy. They would, I feel pretty confident they would make the playoffs if everything stays healthy and they don't have any of that issues, but we'll see.
Brooks and Ron Flanoy should be looking at that like, come on now.
That's good stuff, John.
The only time they had their top 3 guys healthy majority of the year was the same year Dak got injured in 2020. Think about that.
Thanks, guy.
That's the only time that Gallup, Lamb, and Amari, and mind you, Lamb was a rookie, were all relatively, and they all had really good years, relatively speaking, I think, that season. Now, did Gallup get hurt? He might have got hurt, but it felt like they were mostly healthy that year. And then after that, it was just they never were on the field together for consecutively like that.
And I can see a roster spot for a 6th receiver. I just, out of the guys that would be in that competition, I just don't see many touches for him. Like, because they're just like, you're not going to want to take CeeDee Lamb off the field. You don't want to take George Pickens off the field. So now you got to figure out ways to get Tolbert the ball, Turpin the ball, Jake Ferguson the ball, So
that's a lot of thinking, John. You're right.
Yeah. Camp will be fun to see who gets that 6th spot. And there will be, moments where, some guy gets hyped up or whatever like that, but I can see him keeping 6 receivers, but I just don't know if they get deeper than 4 or 5 in terms of touches on Sunday that are of note,
Yeah. Y'all got anything to add, fellas? I got a few questions, but
go ahead, Foots.
I want to ask y'all. So, John just laid out what went on in the locker room and I said positive, John. I'm just, John gonna keep it real. And as we all do, but John, we started this George Pickens conversation with, well, okay, Is he just did he get just get traded away? We're still tired of him. But it sounds like you kind of turned the table and you turned the page on like he sounds like he's ready for a fresh start. And that was what I took from what you said. Like that's dope to me because I think doing some of the deep dive and like you said, listen to Will said they did a lot of research on bringing him in and like talking to people and then obviously what Brian said earlier. So like Sky, let me ask you this. It came out earlier that CeeDee said he believes that him and Pickens are ones. What say you to that, Sky?
You know what I've been saying. I've been calling him a 1B, not a 2. So I mean, tomato, semantics. We're basically saying the same thing. I agree. I love how he said, "You look over here, 1. You look over there, it's another 1." And Pickens feels the same way. You can tell Dak is energized. He feels the same way. I bet you Shotty feels the same way. And you know who feels the same way? I'm pretty sure defensive coordinators. Yeah. I mean, there's just no way you could obtain a guy like that. And we're just talking purely on the field. The defensive coordinators aren't looking at this situation like, okay, we have to pick our poison in a way. We have to decide if we're going to double one, double both, play too high, leave the middle of the field open, light box, heavy box. They're going to be up figuring that out. They didn't have to do that for the last. When did they trade Amari? 2022. Yeah. They haven't had to do that for three seasons. So, I mean, I agree 100%. Now,
I don't know how you play this team other than too high.
Yeah.
Make them beat you with the run game.
In the league,
that's what you have to do. You have to make them beat you with the run game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make them show you that they can run the football. That's the way
I
agree.
Now we can. I agree.
Definitely with this backfield, which is a big unknown, right? And they don't have that high value name, that high value running back. Yeah, prove to me with your new offensive line coach, with your rookie up front, with your backfield that's big question mark. Prove to me that you can run because we ain't letting Dak and Lamb and Pickens beat us. And look, as fans, we can feel optimistic like I do about Clayton Adams and everything, but take my fan hat off real quick. If I'm a defensive coordinator, you're going to have to prove it to me.
Come on with it, man. Sky, you hitting it right on the head, and John, and as well as Foots. Teams in the last 2 or 3 years, that's how they played Dak. They played with quarters. They played off. They didn't really respect the run here in Dallas. So that will not change until we impose our will on teams and run the ball. I love when you were saying it all last year, Sky. Dribble with a purpose, run with a purpose, right? So now the Cowboys have every opportunity to run and get them up out of that umbrella defense. And if they don't do that, one or the other, either Pickens is going to pick them apart or CeeDee Lamb is going to pick them apart when they do the single high safety look or when they try to load the box. So this is a good thing for us. And for people to sit back and look at Pickens, it's just like a snake or a spider that you see on the floor. You're not going to just pick it up and say, I don't know whether or not this is poisonous or not. You're going to already assume that it's poisonous. So that's how Pickens bring to the table when we start to look at Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. We know for sure.
Yeah, defense coordinator's not guessing. They're going to be like, well, you know what? We don't know what Pickens can do, so we're just going to leave him one-on-one all game. They got 3 years of evidence that he'll torch your cornerback 2 or 3 if you want to dare put him over there. But they got a choice now, in my opinion.
And I do feel like if you are playing too high safety most of the time to take off the top to prevent anything over the top to Pickens or CeeDee, I do think there's a lot of opportunities there for Jaden Blue underneath, Turpin underneath, Jake Ferguson.
The numbers
underneath.
say that.
Yeah.
The numbers will say that.
But if they can run the football, like they shouldn't be facing the 16 Zeke boxes, that are just stuff. They should be they should be in some pretty good spots there that you should be able to run the football with some of these guys. So, but it just as we sit here today, it's tough to say because we haven't seen these running backs, have success with this on this team. So you don't really know who it is. And then with the way these offseason workouts are, they're not in pads. So it's hard to judge the run game until you get out to training camp or then into the preseason game. So it's like you can make your best guess on it. But what does that look like, on a Sunday,
So John, can I give you some homework for the next practice? So ignore the running backs at OTAs because there's nothing we can gather from there. What I want you to do.
Hold on, I want to write this down, Scott.
What I want John to do is
it's gotta be number 3 on my list. 1 and 2 are 13 and 88, but go on, okay.
Ignore 33, ignore 34, and all the other ones. Focus on 60. Okay, focus on 52. I forget what number Cooper BB is. Cooper BB, focus on 73. What I'm saying is Connor Riley, Adams, the offensive line, how are they moving? What type of scheme are we running up front? Are we getting, GH counters? Are we getting pulls?
Don't say that, Sky. You're making me happy now. You get me happy.
In all seriousness, because the backs, yes, they absolutely matter, but we can't get anything from them. You know that, John. We can't get anything right now, but we can at least get the how, because that's important to me.
Right.
How are we going to run?
I will say there wasn't a lot of running today.
Yeah, right now it might be nothing.
It's mostly passing stuff, but yeah.
Might not be nothing. But when they do start to do these things, just pay attention to how these guys are moving and then report that to us, because I want to know if it, I believe it's going to drastically change the scheme, but I can't wait to hear that you're seeing that change is all.
Hey, I want to say something. We got 600 people in here, y'all. What's up?
Shout out to y'all, man.
What's up, man? John, what's up?
Hit that like button real quick.
Hey, John, I guarantee. Can we get can my guru Sky or Law give me the I guarantee it drop by Denzel, one of the greatest movies, American Gangster? What we doing?
He got you.
Your Law got me. Okay. All right.
No, I need to install it. But hey,
can we get that Law?
Next,
I guarantee it.
Law had it.
I guarantee.
What Denzel say? I stand on this. You can't replicate this. I won't even try now. Okay, I want to.
Before you go to that last point though, Foots, I just want to let people know we got 15 to 16 weeks. We know for damn sure the Eagles, they're not finna load the box. They're gonna rush forward. They're gonna drop everybody. So we got to get ready with this run thing. But go ahead.
Hey, I'm gonna say this. Sky did a great piece of content on Clayton Adams, and it's a really good piece. I encourage everybody to head to his channel and watch it. He put in a lot of work. Now I'm gonna say this. James Conner wasn't a 1,000-yard rusher till he got with Clayton Adams. I'm not saying that Javonte Williams is going to be Zeke. I'm not saying that he's going to be Saquon Barkley, but I did some homework, and what John is saying is true. 2 years removed from the injury, maybe, just maybe, Javonte Williams can do something to be a downhill guy in this scheme, because I went and watched his Denver film and all of his explosive runs over 10 yards, and it was all gap scheme stuff. Trap. It was a pull game, runways. Yep, you put a fullback in front of him and let him get downhill. He's not gonna make you miss. That's not his game. Let him get. He's not a creator at all. Blue's gonna be your creator, and you're right, John. Maybe he will end up leading the end up being your having the most. We got plenty of time to talk about that. But then I also want to say something.
That James Conner needed to get out of Pittsburgh.
Hey, John on it. Hey, now I'm gonna tell y'all something else. Now watch this. Now
year over there, but then anyway, go ahead.
He got to 900 yards in Pittsburgh.
He was a two for real. Then he got to Arizona and he became their one, and then Clayton Adams just took him to another level.
Yeah, and Clayton Adams really was. It's funny how they use him, Sky. He was like he would go to the body, and then he would bring in other backs to kind of,
But here's the beautiful thing about Clayton Adams that I hope they don't take forever to adjust to. And he said this on .com. He got to, I believe it was Arizona, and he tried to use the outside zone stuff he used in Indianapolis.
It didn't work.
And he said, well, that's not the type of line we have. That's not the type of runner we have. And they pivoted. And you can actually tell they pivoted in that same year in 2023. And if you go and look at how they beat Philly, they did all the gap stuff you love, Foots. They just whooped on them playing power ball, gap ball. And I don't even know if Connor did he play that game? Now think about it.
No, they had those other backs, Sky. Like
they was whooping them with different backs. Because they switched up what worked up front. So it's going to be tough for him to gather right away what these guys do best in the backfield, because they're all going to be rotating. I believe, John, I've read that these backs were kind of in and out. But I bet it's not going to take long. And I think Will Hernandez confirmed this, where he talked about how, hey man, this guy is very smart. He mixes old school with the new school. But if he sees something that works, he's going to hammer it. If he sees something that's not, he's taking it out. He's not going to be stubborn like a Solari. He's not going to, he's going to change things up. So I'm excited to see how that goes. But again, I'm still looking to possibly upgrade that room if I can. Is all I'm saying.
And you're not wrong for that, Sky. But I think we have plenty of time to talk about now. And another thing about George Pickens. So I went back and watched 2023. So I did my little deep dive, and I put a thread on Twitter And I just say this, John, with the 1A stuff, he's so right because guys, we say it was bad quarterback play in Pittsburgh. It was horrendous quarterback play in Pittsburgh. In 23, here's a note, guys. 36.8% of the passes thrown Pickens' way were inaccurate.
Connor played that game.
36. That's crazy. League average was 22%.
Wow.
And that was to a number.
It just cracks me when you say that because Russell Wilson this last couple of weeks is just walking around like he's the king of New York. I mean, he's
oh my god,
I'm like, dude, you're not that guy,
John.
That guy.
And so, John, in 2024, what's so crazy is people have got this. I've seen this a lot that he doesn't separate. Completely false. That George Pickens can't separate or that he's not a route runner per se, and that is false. And there's film evidence to prove that. Now, what Russell Wilson would not do in 2024, John, is throw him over the middle of the field. He'll throw air balls. Like, that's one thing he'll do. He'll throw those rainbow shots, but the middle of the field, he just would not give him the ball. And so, like, the 2-1s and what you're talking about with the too high shells, well, I'm going to tell you right now, most of the time when you get in those too high structures and you getting those off, man, bro, he's going to win on slant. And it's going to win in a way where it's like Michael Gallup, cool. Maybe he'll catch it and go to the ground. Bruh, Pickens will run away from you. Like, I think that's a very underrated. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, Scott? That's an underrated part of his game.
And if they try to play press with the too high, right? Because sometimes you get the off and you're
two-man under stuff.
Right. And but if they try to he can get off press on the line of scrimmage and look, the turkey shot's there for Dak to hit. And if they want to get freaky with it, they'll throw a guy over there in the slot and they say, okay, safety, we're going to send a guy right at you and we'll get true one-on-one, even though you're trying to play over top of Pickens. And if you want to play Pickens, then that slot guy's probably going to have a deep seam shot. Maybe that's Turpin, maybe that's Tolbert, whoever it may be, Jake Ferguson. So, yeah, man, the games that I think Schotty is going to be able to play, he's probably chomping at the bit to get going because if you go look at the Seattle tape, the one thing you can't take away from Seattle is he will take the deep shots. He is setting, there's a dribble with the purpose, the run game to set up the deep shots. And I think he's got, now with Pickens, a very similar set of weapons. I think that time is going to have Baldwin. I want to say DK might have came around and they still had Lockett. So they have pretty good receivers. Dallas now has two guys that'll make you have to force you to play a certain way. And I think Schotty can take advantage of that with the scheme.
I got something now, Sky, you got me to thinking, and John kind of confirmed it.
I don't know why I'm freezing like
it's
this.
Cool.
It's
guys, just make it is, but it's cool. It's the devil won't win because you can listen back to it
on ours. I can see us.
Hey, John, the devil won't win today. We got OTAs. We got John Machota. We got almost 700 people in here, and you can listen back to this on iTunes. Now I want to, and iTunes, wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, listen to this where you working out. Skywalker still Law Nation, John Machota. I want to say something. John said something that's got me thinking, right? Turpin, guys. So you got these two guys that can work. Yeah. And then, but John, Sky, you said deep shots. Man, what if we can get him going as a deep threat, John?
Yeah.
Who are you talking about on the deep threat?
KaVontae Turpin.
Okay, yeah, no, for sure. But I will say the play that hit the best one they had today was on a slant to Turpin, a short. But so much of the field was opened up because Pickens was out there and CeeDee Lamb's out there, and that
John, don't tell me this. Don't tell me this, John. Don't tell me this.
And as he was running, Pickens started running next to him, like waving him, like let's go.
John,
and they ran all the way to the end zone.
Why don't they give us video?
I know it's moments like that where I'm like, I would love to be able to shoot video of this stuff, but they won't let us do it.
So hold on, let's slow this down. Let's break this down.
God, no, man.
Hold on.
We had to go through so many. We went through Vasher for this guy.
Hold on, Rick. I'm trying to make this better for you. Who were the receivers out there, John, for that play?
So on the right side was Pickens and Tolbert, and then on the left side was CeeDee and Turpin.
Oh, so they want 4 wide.
Yeah.
Okay, we got 4 wide, and they had CeeDee out wide.
Yeah.
So out wide,
and then on the opposite side was. I see. That's the thing. Like there could have happened today, but I did not see a time when Pickens and CeeDee were lined up next to each other. They were always opposite sides of the field.
We got time. We got time.
They don't need to be that much. Make defense have to split that field.
Brand name. I stand behind it.
I got it now. I got it, baby.
Four wide.
Law don't
Four-
play.
Hey,
That's a brand
four
name.
wide with Turpin out there is kind of scary.
Behind it. I got
But John, we went through Vasher. And we went through who started that 1 year?
Dennis Houston was out
They
there.
all had Dennis
Yeah.
Houston. We sacrificed those guys for George
we
Pickens.
did.
George Pickens, man. I mean, John. When John just said that, I could cry because I mean, John Madden this when he said, "Yo, there was so much space on the field that a slant flew open, Sky." And now John is answering the question, Sky. Brian Schottenheimer don't gotta think too much. Hey, homie, if you getting this, it's very if-then play calling. If you getting this, you put that Speedy Gonzalez out there. How many corners running with that over the middle of the field?
And just
Come
imagine
on
if
now.
you get creative with concepts in the plays, like you can really get some. That's why I love McVay's offense, because it really sets up the quarterback and the playmakers for just easy reads. And then sometimes the throws you might need to, thread the needle, but that's what good quarterbacks can do. So I think, and I saw the question in the chat. Somebody said, "Man, will he have this offense looking like the Shanahans, the Green Bays, the Packers, Detroit?" I do think it will look similar. I will wait to see at camp, but I'm telling y'all, it feels that way based off what he said and who he hired.
What was the teams you said again?
He said, "Is it going to look like Green Bay?" He mentioned Detroit, and he mentioned the Niners. He left off the Rams. I'm big on the McVay comparison, but
the only one I'll say about that is I have more questions about the runner in this offense than some of those. So, but if you find the answer there,
fair question. Those are fair question.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Maybe Phil Maffa wins the job. I mean, how many people? how many people in Kansas City after they drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire thought that Pacheco would end up being the guy? What was Pacheco? Was he 6 or 7? I don't know.
7.
He was later, right?
He was a 7th round pick, John. 7th round pick.
Don't forget, I'm trying to see where he was drafted at. Kyron Williams, 164th overall. Okay.
Wow.
So we're, McVay, again, people get it twisted when you think of these offenses aside from Shanahan, even McDaniels in a way. You think, cool motion, high fly passing. No, they have a really good run scheme. They just don't have the Saquon Barkley's in the backfield unless you got Christian McCaffrey. But they usually churn out quality back. Raheem Mostert was an MVP type of runner 2 years ago in the McDaniels offense that came from Shanahan and really was a lot of McDaniel. Kyron Williams, right? Pro Bowl type numbers in with the Rams. So this type of scheme and offense does produce quality rushers. But are they the rushers that can take you over the top? I would say no. That's not what's happening in the backfield. But to answer your question, Foots, I do think a healthier Javonte Williams can have a solid year. I'm just not ready to stamp it as the fact that you can lean on it. That's my question. Is there a guy you can lean on? Is this a running game you can lean on? We just can't know that right now, man.
And I'll be honest with you, bro. You are 100% real. Like Sky, like every roster has a question, right? But I'll be honest with you, that question of the weapons is not as loud as it was. And Sky, you said something. The thinking is now out of it for, man, who's going to step up? Defensive coordinators know they got to defend this team differently because contrary to proper belief, they know Dak is going to make the right reads. He's so good at the line of scrimmage. People don't talk about that enough. He's going to come, look at what you're in pre-snap and say, okay, this is where the ball is going. Like, he has that all in his bag. And 100%, Scott, I think the run game will get us out of Dodge until Jaden Blue probably gets up to speed, and then the rest will be, what he does. But, I mean, I'll be honest with y'all. Go ahead, Scott.
Somebody said Gurley was in that offense. You know what's funny about Gurley being in that offense? If you go look at that Super Bowl run, the first one, it was the other big fella that helped lead.
Oh, yeah, Henderson.
C.J. Anderson.
It was C.J. Anderson that was leading them in the playoffs that year.
I'll never forget that.
They cut Gurley, I think, the next year.
Right.
We could not get Henderson to the ground. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, I'll never forget it either.
Anderson. Yeah. The refrigerator with legs, man. You're rolling all over us, man.
But guys, we will be back on Thursday. And will we have another session, John, or of OTAs? Will you guys be able to see another one before then?
No. Our next one is until next Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay, next Thursday.
Okay.
Well, we'll have we'll start our what we'll do is we'll start our roster series, and we'll start just breaking down the offensive side of the ball. And we'll talk some more about maybe the Will McClay interview and any of more news will be coming out, the players, and we'll kind of get back to some of these interviews, and we'll kind of game plan the topics for you guys. But we wanted this show to be all about OTAs because, again, when you got Steph Curry, aka John Machota, you use
I like
him.
that comparison.
And if he listen, if Scott, what do I always say? If Steph going for 30, let him go for 50. And John went for 50 tonight, man. This was what a great show.
John from Detroit, man. So if you can call him Steph. If you don't mind, I'm gonna call you Isaiah. You know what I'm saying?
That's good too. I like that.
Hey, John.
Hey, Isaiah got them handles that nobody think about, one of the greatest handles of all time, and John be out there killing it. So
how far you was from 8 Mile, John?
The other
he was in 8 Mile.
I lived
lose yourself
for about 3 years. I lived like probably about 2 blocks away.
2 blocks.
Oh
away.
wow!
Okay.
I was in the trenches.
Hey, John, y'all
don't know. What y'all don't know. Since John showed me that shiesty, what y'all don't know is he was in D12, y'all. He was in.
Hey, yo, Sky's a wild boy.
John was over there. I know, John. I know.
They don't want to. I'll take this one. They don't want us to leave. Thank you for the super chat. Hey, John, this offseason has felt a lot like 2014. A bunch of depth signings. I could get that, especially. I'm with you on that, but I want this to be his own thing because that was Jason Garrett. This is Brian Schottenheimer. But thank you so much for that super chat. We got to get out of here, John.
Scott, we getting a ticket.
Answer Special K's request right there. You know what I'm saying? Is it cookout?
Yeah,
come on, man. Yeah,
John was at the cookout. John was at the cookout.
He gonna get the dopest pictures at the cookout. I'm just saying.
It is funny though because I've been by that. There's a bunch of times that my friends and I went by that trailer park, you know, that they're based off of an 8 Mile and that. And it's just funny because you see it and you're just like, obviously it's not in a great area. And you're like, someone like really would spend all that money to like remake a movie off of like just how rough it is in that area and stuff like that. But yeah, no, 8 Mile is like, it separates Warren from Detroit, and Warren is where I grew up, and that's where I'm from is Warren. So yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say this too, John. Next week, get your shiesty ready. Because you can't pull that thing out and hey, look, I'm just saying. Hey, no, but I'm gonna be real, John. I'm gonna send you a Nike shiesty. That's the one thing about the kids. The kids on my, I'm gonna send everybody getting a Nike shiesty on foot.
Yeah, this is one of those like this is like wear it to Lambo ones I got.
The Nike. See, the kids on my youth football team, they be telling me like, look, Coach Foots, you gotta have the Nike on there. It ain't a real shiesty. You know what I'm saying? Like if it don't got the Nike, they wear these like a real whatchamacallit. But I can honestly say this, guys. The Pickens signing has brought life back to the Cowboys. It has, man. It has, John. Look, we got Sky doing documentaries, baby. This
documentary, Skybox documentary.
Hey, my man, back on the morning show. I got it tuned into every joint. Like he done brought life back to us. We smiling. Even John, we got John to say that he got a fresh start. And I'm gonna say this:
it could be a complete disaster, and I would be fine with this.
Bro, I'm telling you, like he could flame out. At least we getting through this offseason with some.
We don't need to flame out. I'm cool with some crash houses.
Hey, John, it's better than us trying to convince Trayshawn Holden can be the guy. You know what I'm saying? It's better.
Can you imagine, Law? From now till training camp, John just do it.
We were sitting here arguing who was going to be wide receiver too, Jalen Tolbert or Mingo. So we know what it feels like to not have him here.
Hey man, what a show. Show 35. Cowboys Collective, guys. We will be back Thursday. We apologize for the timing. And also, we thank you guys for the real ones sticking in there. Just blame John. Listen, white people be late sometimes too. I know y'all think it's me, but John, that's my one jab. We can do it on the Cowboys.
It is my fault. It's all good.
Hey, much love, y'all.
I'm telling you,
much love, guys. We will see y'all next time. And Law, and remember,
you're listening to the sounds of the Cowboys Collective. 4 goats. Let's go, baby. Let's get on up out of here. Peace.
Much love, y'all. Much love. Peace.
Yeah.